Hello everybody. All right, so today's video is going to be teaching you how to measure the capacity of your batteries. Your batteries by default are programmed into the sunny island, but as the battery health degrades over time, the battery's capability of giving you all of its full capacity diminishes. So what I like to do is cycle the batteries a couple times every year. Like I'll intentionally drain it down to 30% and then charge it back up and down to 30% and back up. And you do that 3 or 4 times. That's a healthy cycling on the battery. And then once you've done that, then you could even do an equalization charge. But you got to be careful with equalization charges. You can reach out to me if you're local and I can do them for you. I can do this cycling for you as well. But I wanted to show you how you can track what your actual battery capacity is. So on the menu, you hit the down arrow and you come down to diagnosis, which is menu number 300. Go in, inverter diagnosis, go in. System total diagnosis, you go in. So again, that's menu item 311. And in there, you can see it says energy count in, which is 113.5 kilowatts. And then if I hit the down arrow, that shows you the energy count out, which is 4,019.7. Okay, let me explain what these two numbers are. And I think energy count time. Oh, that's cool. That gives it to you in hours. That's kind of nice. All right. So anyway, these are the two I want to focus on. Count in is how much energy has been fed into the trailer from AC2, which is this plug right there. That's the one that the generator plugs into on the back of the trailer. Okay. That's AC2. This comes in and it feeds in. So this, over the lifetime of this trailer, it's only had 113.5 kilowatts actually come into the trailer. If I hit the down arrow, there is 4,019.7, which is energy count out. Okay, energy count out is how much energy you've consumed from the trailer. So what you do is you take a picture of this number or you write it down, which is the energy count out. And then let's say you run a heater overnight. Well, I'm getting ready to do that, which I'll show you what I'm doing here. Okay, so this is my wife's heater. Fortunately, this time of year, she doesn't need the heater, so I get to use it for my trailers. Now, the reason why I like this heater is that it is on low, but it's a digital. So when this loses power, and the trailer comes back on, it's not going to instantly start draining the battery again. I like the fact that when the sunny islands cycle, because they are worried about the battery being low, this won't turn back on. So it keeps my test somewhat under control. So I'm running that heater at low, and I'm going to come over here and show you, if I go all the way up to the top, as it's cycling through, there's your total inverter power at 0.8 kilowatts. So at this moment in time, I'm consuming 0.8 kilowatts from that heater. And just so that this might be interesting for you, if I turn this on high, so now I'm on high, so it's going to be pulling more heat. I'm contributing to my global warming footprint by running the heater in outdoors. So now the total inverter power is at 1.3. So that's the difference of about 500 watts. Now, when I'm doing a controlled cycle, I really like to keep it as low as possible because I want to drain the battery slowly. So I'm going to go back to low. And now over here, you'll see that the kilowatt usage is at 0.7. That's a little bit less than 0.8. It'll probably level off at 0.8 here in a second. Okay, so the reason why I like this is as it's cycling and it's only consuming 0.8 kilowatts, it will slowly drain this battery down. Now on the midnight charge controller, you'll see that the battery voltage is at 51.9. Now, some of you may have noticed this, but when you're pulling a heavier load, this battery voltage will drop to be lower. And so, like, let's say if you're pulling 2,000 watts, this could drop as much as like 2 volts. Well, the problem is that when the sunny island, if the voltage on the battery ever gets so low that it gets down to, if it ever gets so low that it gets down to 46 volts, it will instantly drop to 20% and then almost shut off, okay? And so by draining it slowly, that differential is a little bit more controlled, so you'll be able to drain the battery a little bit more, but equally across all the cells, and you're not stressing any one cell. Now, tomorrow morning, this will power cycle tonight, and then when this shuts off, this guy over here won't turn back on automatically. When I unplug this and plug it back in, it comes up and it's not on. The problem with the manual switches is that as soon as the power is restored, it's going to start generating heat again. I like that once I hit that 20% mark, it just stops the test. So that's why I like these digital heaters. So that's something you might want to do. Now in the morning, when I come back out here, I'm going to come back to diagnostics, go in to here, and I'm going to go to number 2, which is energy count out. And then that it might be 4,028 or 4,032 tomorrow. Well, the difference between 4,019 and whatever the number is tomorrow, that represents the capacity of my battery. So that tells you what health your battery is. Normally, these batteries should have about 25,000 watts each. And 2 of them together, you have about 50,000 watts on your trailer. So under a good test, you should be able to get 20,000 to 25,000 watts of usable power on a test. If you don't get that, then that means your battery is a little weaker, and they would call that, like a 60% or a 70% battery instead of a 100% battery. So anyway, I thought this would be a good video for everybody. Hopefully you find it good. I'll end it. Goodbye, everyone.